Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and this is Crypto and Coffee with the Trading Boys. It's Thursday morning, 9:16 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and title of the show is the crypto train leaving the station? I think we're going to see some big price action today. Yeah, that's the emoji that I couldn't come up with. We're going to see some big price action today, so let's dive into the charts and see.
I think I got like the perfect skin color for that, like that third, maybe fourth emoji in the color scheme.
Yeah, man, I think you're right. That looks good. Yeah, you're right.
Going to the charts now.
And other news.
In other news.
Okay.
No, I mean we've had. Let's seriously let's get into it. We've had a nice little drop to the downside, right? Which this, a lot of people, you can say this is a retracement from the, the pump that we had. Of course, we're on the daily here, so let's not get this confused. We've got this downward trend line from the highs that we made last year. And so we're going to test, we're testing that trend line. Broken through, it's coming back. This is on the daily. Again, I point to, kind of this imbalance in the chart. It's still down here, and if you really look at it, I mean, when you start having a real nice pump, like when it pumps out of this zone, I mean, you get a lot of this kind of activity, right? Like daily volumes are really propelling that. If you look kind of here, you don't really see that push in volume, all the push in volumes to the downside. And even all the volume that came in, I mean, this move, obviously, with the volume coming down is weakening. It's getting up to these areas. And so even though it kind of seemed like it moved pretty fast, really there wasn't a whole lot of volume behind this shift. So again, as I say every show, I think we're going to go down from here. And I think this may be the start. And it may range in and out of here to cause, some confusion and try to get, the longer this goes on,
The more uncertainty that's going to happen.
The more uncertainty, but I think the more bullish, if they're really pumping up to the upside, people are going to be like, this is it, this is it, this is it. And I think that's what it's going to take. It's going to take slide in this range, you're going to see some, big pushes to the upside, but I think they're going to pull back and then push back up in order to create, that illusion that we're going up, Man. Because at the end of the day, we've had all this activity to the upside, this big move right here, but really we're just back where we were, a few weeks ago.
Right, yeah. And that's a nice little, if you follow candle chart patterns, that looks like that's forming a nice little inverse cup and handle there. So I honestly think that if we don't see us break above that last peak that we just had here today, then we're going to see some more moves to the downside as well. And I know that's abnormal for me because I'm normally the bull guy.
You're normally the bull guy, but I mean, this is a good breakout from this trend line, right? Mm-hmm. Come back, retest, and now you've got some activity to the upside. I'm not saying that this is, I mean, we've got to obviously push beyond these peaks before we can say, hey, we're in earnest on the way. But I could see how they could range in here, kind of bring the golden cross. As that golden cross is, you get a nice little push up to the upside, right? Even up to this, this area. But I mean, this is critical area right here. I mean, let's not downplay that. Boom, a little breakout here, pull back. I mean, with this golden cross, in the process, I think you catch a lot of longs, and then I think they're punished and brought right back down in the range.
I agree with you 100%.
Shorter term, if we hop down to the 5 minute, again, we're testing that downward trend line. So all this is very positive for anybody looking to go long. These retests are what a lot of the technical traders, look for. and then pushing into these EMAs. All this looks very positive to the upside, um, but it also looks very trappy, you know.
Look at that. Talking about trap. Up, down, up, down, up, down. They just taking out those stops left and right there.
Very choppy. I mean, this is kind of a critical area for price to the downside. You've got this imbalance here, which it kind of came down to, but not quite. And so you had kind of this push up, from here.
So for today, what do you see on the charts here that are major? These are going to be major make or break points for either breakout or move to the downside. Where do you see the resistance and support at for today?
Yeah. So obviously, I've got this peak that's pointing out. I've got this. You can't really see you can kind of see the dotted line here. So I have this as a support area. I have this as a resistance area. It wouldn't surprise me if we kind of bounce into this area. So, this is yesterday's high, New York's high for yesterday. But this was a previous resistance that I had on the daily. So if you want to compare this red line to this dotted line with this yellow, we've had some breakouts, to trap breakout traders from this amount. You could say that it's coming down to take out those particular stops, possibly pick up some more longs and move to the upside to then trap into this area. So like I'm saying, I think they're going to try and build momentum to the upside so that ultimately, maybe even towards the end of March, we kind of see things very escalated, very, a lot of exasperation about where price is going. And then we pull probably, good news about the war, good news about whatever. But at the end of the day, oil's at $110, Fed's got to tighten. All of those two things are bad for the economy. You've got third quarter, a lot of earnings are going to be coming out. And so, we'll see how all that's affected. Anyway, getting back to things like, well, actually, this is a chart that I was playing with earlier, but you know what so this is interesting because, and this is not, if you want to put it on the show, you can put it on the show. This is really for you and I, because I don't really know. It could be a couple different things, but you got Binance, this is 1 hour, Binance price, Binance open interest. So this spot is just USDT spot. So USDT, CVD on USDT spot has increased. This is just spot on USD. And so USD has decreased, which could tell me that there's not a lot of new money that's coming into the market. This is all being recycled out to USDT, possibly, or, whatever that looks like. But I don't know. I just find it interesting. I haven't really thought a lot about it. I just kind of looked at it and said, let's break it down a little bit. Funding rate. Oh man, look at FTX. I'm telling you, man, this is so crazy. FTX is always,
Negative.
Yeah, you might get a little bit of an upside pump in the beginning, but I think you're going to get a big drawdown by the end, and I think we close to the downside tomorrow. NASDAQ had a big day up yesterday, so looks like we're headed down.
This is the ETH chart. So as you can see, it looks like we came all the way up into this range, possibly starting a reversal. We do have one liquidity area right below us. That's 100x long for $28 million. That's $28.95. And we'll cross-reference that here in a minute with Bookmap on the order books. But we do have a couple of these guys up here in this 3,000 price range, which we have a nice heavy wall looking at Bookmaps right now, 842 orders, and then 1,200 orders at 30.20. So 30.20 is definitely going to be an area that we're going to want to pay attention to on the E chart today. As you can see, our cumulative liquidation level delta here is starting to decrease. We're down to 1.6 billion. I'm slide over to the Bitcoin chart. Absolutely. As you can see, these longs right here been building up. They haven't taken out the one here at 43,232, but we are planning to go to the downside soon. We have some more areas, 42.5, to pay attention to, and then another big liquidation down here at 42,121. I would say, if we start breaking down into these levels in the low 4100s, there's quite a room, there's quite a ways down for us to go get. Again, we are anticipating that a big move happens some point today. So this is ETSD book map that shows order flow volume right here. And as you can see, we're hovering right here on the 2900 range. We do look like we have a little bit of support down in this 2850 range. And we're pretty much more or less neutral right now on what's going on right here. But as you can see, I mentioned earlier, 3220 has a little over 1,100 orders. So I think that's pretty important today. And then you can see 3,100 has over 5,000 orders. So if I was going to pay really close attention to that 3220 area that we just spoke about, if we break out of that, be looking really closely at this 3,100 area range. And let me tell you, man, if we bust through that, we bust through these 5,000 orders, say they do stay in the book, I mean, we're going to have a lot of momentum to really push to the upside. So those are really big breaking points in my mind today, as far as moving to the upside. If you want to go down to the downside, we have an equivalent order down here in the 1100 range. That's a 2780, and then we have a nice stack of orders here at 2800 as well. So really, this is one of those deals, right? Like, we're loaded heavy on the bottom, we're loaded heavy on the top. Which way are we going to want to go? So this is definitely another if this then that scenario. Bitcoin, nothing really above 43,800 at all. And then we slide down here and we started looking. Let's look at that low 4,100 range that we were talking about. Let me kind of scroll out here, because I mean, look at this. This is just flat as can be. Nothing's really happened very much. So down here, right here in this right below 4,100, you can see we have a nice stack of orders here. 117 orders in this area, and then 162 up at 4,500. We are showing some weight to the downside right now, so I think hopefully that's going to confirm our hypothesis here, because I believe a little bit more ranging, but overall that we're going to see moves to the downside today. Well, guys, we don't really have anything else to chit chat about. I'm going to call it a day, and that's a wrap. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place.